Parshas Teizei Shlishi. So in this aliyah, we find two very interesting topics. One will be about parenting, and one will be about self-control. In the first aliyah, we spoke about how Rashi explains the natural progression about going out to war, seeing a woman, and then you end up hating her, and then it leads to Ben Sora Mora, and of course the idea of Avera Geras Avera comes to mind. But the end of Sheni, leading into Shlishi, we have the mitzvah of Shiluach HaKan, and then we have the mitzvah of if you build a house, you have to have gates on the roof so nobody should chas v'shalom fall. And then we have the mitzvah of shatnez, we have the mitzvah of kalayim, don't put two animals to plow together, don't put two species of foods to grow together. And the dictum of mitzvah geras mitzvah comes to mind. So the question one might ask is, why did the Torah choose these things? The idea of a man going out to war and the Eishes Fast Toyar and the Ben Sora Mora to teach us Avera Geras Avera, and the idea of Shiluach HaKan and making a fence and the mitzvah of Kalayim and Shatnez. Why is that mitzvah Geras mitzvah? So if we think about it, in the case of the Eishes Fast Toyar, the soldier, he did not have any self-control. He gave in to what he wanted right at that moment. As opposed to the Shiluach HaKan, he didn't give in at that moment. You have to send the mother bird away. And it wasn't so difficult, but you did it. You were able to control yourself, even for a short amount of time. And that's a very different thing. You control yourself. What's your reward for your self-control? Mitzvah geras mitzvah. This simple mitzvah will lead to another mitzvah, to another mitzvah, and to another mitzvah. The other main important thing that I saw in this aliyah was about parenting, right? What happens? A man accuses his wife, says that she wasn't a basula, she wasn't a virgin when I married her. So if he's found to be a liar, what happens? The parent, he's given over to the parents, which means based in, they give him malchus. He's got to pay a fine. But what happens if the wife is guilty? What's the punishment? They take her to the door of her father's house and they stone her there. Why over there? Because her parents gave her a chinuch, they gave her an upbringing. And if she's going to go ahead and do something, it must be that the upbringing wasn't so good. Right? And this leads to, later on in the aliyah, a woman who's found in the city and then a man, a lawyer lady, rapes her. So if she's found in the city, we assume that it wasn't rape, and Rashi says she wasn't a tznuah, right? Rashi gives the example of if there's a hole in the fence, a robber is going to come looking. Hey, the door's open, right? The woman who's found in the city, she's walked in the streets. That's not the place of a lady. She right? Sarah's Avram Avinu's asked, "Where's Sarah?" Sarah's where she belongs. And we saw by Leah. Leah went out to greet Yaakov Avinu and say, "Tonight you're coming home with me." And what happens? Dinah learned from Leah. She went out to the city, and that's where Chamor and Shechem. That's where they saw her, and that's how that whole story unfolded. But if it's in a field, the pasuk says we assume she cried out, because that's not roaming the streets. So it's very important that we look at our chinuch, and we see that it has an effect how we deal with our kids. It can lead to how they're going to behave in the future.